What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, Spartans of all ages, Joker back again once again, and welcome back to the greatest flexes in Halo. Now, Halo is a franchise built on flexes. And today, people, I am drawing a line in the sand. I am taking a stand, and after consulting the Flexicon, I have learned that I can, in fact, make a video about a single flex. So I've decided to explore the single, not what is quite possibly the single greatest, not what might be the single greatest. No. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, Spartans of all ages, I am exploring the single greatest flex in all of Halo. This is not my opinion, mind you. This is 100% scientific fact. And if you don't agree with that, well, it's likely that you believe the Earth is flat or something like that. But before we get started, if this video can reach 3,000 likes within the next week, I will unveil what I believe to be the second greatest flex in all of Halo, and my personal favorite one. And for you naysayers who don't think that I'm about to unveil the single greatest flex in all of Halo, the flex that we're about to talk about isn't even my favorite flex in all of Halo. And yet, it is the greatest flex in all of Halo, meaning my opinion doesn't matter here. My opinion doesn't even come into play. This is just the single greatest flex in all of Halo. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Our story is brought to us from Halo Evolutions, and it's called The Impossible Life and Possible Death of Preston J. Cole. I'm sure people familiar with this story are already grinning ear to ear. So, for those of you who don't know about Cole, Vice Admiral Cole served during the Insurrection and the Human Covenant War. Cole is best known for being the commander of the majority of the UNSC Navy from 2552 until 2543, and for his role in creating the Cole Protocol, a central UNSC law responsible for defending Earth's location. A military genius, Cole defeated the Covenant in every major battle he fought, and his battle record was considered to be without equal, even more impressive than that of the Spartan IIs. It's no exaggeration to say that his service record is only second to that of Master Chief. And come on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, Spartans of all ages, Master Chief was the main character of 4 games and had a cameo in the 5th. To say that Preston J. Cole is a big fucking deal would be underselling just how much of a big fucking deal Preston J. Cole is. The guy was a badass, and words simply do not do him justice. Now, to really understand this flex, we've actually got a bit to go over. And a good deal of this deals with Cole's love life and interpersonal relationships, because it was a mix of these and just how much time Cole spent away from his family and how much combat that he'd seen that sets up for the greatest flex in all of Halo lore. Now, while I desperately wish that this was a case of Cole sticking his dick somewhere he shouldn't have, like crazy, a choice that has undone the best of us. By all accounts, Cole was not just a brilliant military leader, not just a good commander, but he tried his hardest to be a great dude and a good father. Of course, the UNSC had other plans. Put a pin in that, just keep it in the back of your mind, because that insight will help explain a lot later. Cole's first wife of 8 years was Ina Volkov. She was the daughter of Admiral Honard Volkov, and Ina Volkov was, shall we say, a fan of the dick. She liked to get dicked down, sometimes by multiple dicks at once. And in 2492, a series of incidences occurred at Luna OCS Academy on Luna. Luna OCS Academy on Luna. Is that like Paradise, so nice they named it twice, or did I just make a typo? Either way, we're keeping that in. Anyways, at Luna OCS Academy on Luna, Ina had, shall we say, a couple of incidences, a couple of overnight disappearances. And on these overnight disappearances, she was seen in the company of young men. These overnight disappearances would result in Ina getting knocked up. Dun dun dun! Because that's what happens when you have sex. And Daddy doesn't remember to check the pressure seals on his ODST drop pod. And you'll note that I said Daddy, not Cole. Because, like Michael Jackson, that kid was not Cole's son. Hell, it's not even clear if Cole had a sparring match with the young lady before, their shotgun marriage. And yet, Cole married her anyways. In a report about Cole's life, the author, codenamed Surgeon, suggests that there are 3 reasons why this marriage took place. The first was the Admiral knew which candidate was the true father and didn't like what he saw, and thus found a suitable replacement for his daughter in Cole. That makes sense because they have the DNA of all the people involved and could cross-reference that pretty easily. God, I hate to have the military career of that dude. Shit, man. Fuck. really long time, cleaning out the shit and sludge that managed to drain its way down to the bottom of UNSC carriers. I'm just saying, that's probably what he spent his time doing. The second was that the offspring was not the child of any of the candidates, thus the Admiral's grandchild would have been fatherless. I really have a hard time believing that they couldn't track down who it was though, because basically everybody's DNA is on record in the Halo universe. Even if you live on the outer colonies, which is how they found the candidates for the Spartan 2 program. The third possibility is that Cole in fact did have a liaison with Ina, though he was not the father. Either way, Admiral Volkov either made Cole marry his daughter, or else Cole was compelled by a sense of chivalry. Personally, and you can think of this as a minor flex, I think Cole saw an opportunity. An admiral whose daughter's actions may lead to gossip and somewhat a smearing of his name comes to Cole, and Cole goes, I'm not daddy, but I can help you cover this up. This of course would ingratiate the admiral and his family to Cole, and Cole would become part of that family. Regardless of what the motivations actually were, the two remained married for over the next 8 years, had 2 more sons and a daughter, all of which were Cole's biologically. However, as the insurrection flared up, Cole saw very little of Ina and their children, being engaged on the frontier for months, even years at a time. And Ina filed for divorce in 2500. Cole wrote to her accepting responsibility for their failure of a marriage, stating that she never wanted a long-distance military marriage, and though he would always love her, he could not ignore his duty to humanity. Cole was devastated by the divorce and attempted to maintain contact with his children, though he never received a reply, and assumed that Ina was burning his letters. Several years later, Cole would begin a relationship with Lyrena Castilla, a bar owner that he met on the backwater colony of Roost. However, after marrying her, Cole discovered that Castilla was an insurrectionist, and not just any insurrectionist, an insurrectionist leader and the captain of the Bellicose. The Bellicose just happened to be a stolen UNSC frigate that Cole had been pursuing for years. Cole was heavily affected on a personal level after losing the first woman that he loved and suffering. Then he found another chance at love, only to discover that not only was she an insurgent, but she was an insurgent leader and a captain of a stolen UNSC ship that he'd had an on-again, off-again chase with, as one might be. I mean, affected, not an insurgent. That kind of fucks you up. Put a pin in that though, that'll be important later. And as one might be, Cole's integrity was put into question and he was recalled to Reach for debriefing. Only his fame as a war hero and the efforts of Admiral Michael Stanforth, a close personal friend of Cole's, kept him from facing a court-martial, but not a thorough interrogation by Oni. Shortly before Cole's debrief, the Bellicose was apparently lost with all hands during the Battle of Theta Ursa Majoris. The Oni interrogator read him the after-action report in an attempt to break his spirit, but all it did was cause Cole to remain stoic and silent and utterly stubborn in an attempt to preserve Castilla's honor. Cole was sent back to Earth and given a desk job where he was promoted to Rear Admiral to keep him quiet. All of his requests for reassignment back to space were denied, and all of his proposals to make the UNSC fighting forces more effective against insurgency were ignored. If only they had listened. Over the next 2 decades, Cole faded from the public view, only resurfacing for his 2 highly publicized marriages to significantly younger women and their more spectacularly publicized divorces. During this period, he suffered 2 heart attacks, and on May 11th, 2525, his liver failed him from cirrhosis, and subsequently was replaced with a flash clone transplant, as were his damaged heart and his endocrine system, and all of that before the Human Covenant War even kicks off. So, as you see, Cole has already had a fairly colorful life at this point, but it's just getting started. And yeah, all of that was important to know just so you could really appreciate in its totality just how amazing this flex is when we get to it. Cole's role during the Human Covenant War for our story isn't really as important as his role during the insurrection or his personal life was. However, there are some noteworthy things that we will go over briefly. At the very beginning of the Human Covenant War, after first contact on Harvest, Cole was brought out of retirement. He was reinstated as Vice Admiral of the Navy and given command of Battle Group X-Ray in December of 2525. On March 1st, 2526, the Battle of Harvest began, in which the 40 ships of Battle Group X-Ray engaged a single vessel, a Covenant super destroyer, in orbit over Harvest. The Covenant ship's superior weaponry and technology overwhelmed the fleet, and Cole's adjacent commanders suggested a full retreat. However, with the use of intelligence gathered during the Battle of Chi Seti, Cole realized that the Covenant energy shield technology was vulnerable to massive, concentrated fire. Cole ordered all ships in the battle group to simultaneously focus their fire at the Covenant ship, with salvos of Mach rounds first, followed by Archer missiles and Shiva-class nuclear missiles. This last-minute tactical inspiration worked, and the supercarrier shields were overwhelmed, allowing the UNSC's battle group to fire their remaining armaments into the supercarrier's hull, destroying the Covenant ship. Although Battle Group X-Ray managed to destroy the supercarrier, 13 UNSC ships were destroyed during the battle. Cole would then have to return to Harvest in 2531 with the UNSC's Navy's 3rd Fleet under his command, to remove Covenant forces that had encroached on the system for the last 5 years. By 2535, Cole had finished writing the United Nations Space Command's Emergency Priority Order 098831A-1, better known as the Cole Protocol, a law to prevent the Covenant from finding the location of Earth and any other human population centers. In 2537, Cole engaged Covenant forces in the Leonis Minoris system. Although only 10 UNSC ships were lost, 2 of the system's 3 human colonies were glassed. By 2541, Cole had participated in 23 more engagements throughout the war, as well as an unusual encounter at Alpha Cephei. Cole won every major engagement that he committed his forces to. Only on 2 occasions did he retreat after believing himself to be overwhelmed, though he returned in both cases with reinforcements. As the fleets and battle groups under his command were constantly suffering heavy losses, CENTCOM continued to provide Cole with new ships and new crews instead of letting him rest. Regardless, Cole was dedicated to winning the war and believed that if he stopped, billions of lives were at stake. By 2543, Cole was in command of military operations in FleetCom Sector 3, which brings us to the most critical battle in Cole's career, the Battle of Psi Serpentis. Cole led a fleet of 162 warships against 2 Covenant fleets totaling 300 ships in the Psi Serpentis system. The engagement began when Cole's fleet, Battle Group India, exited slip space on the far side of the gas giant Vipera D. The Covenant fleet, which had assembled there, moved to engage the human ships. But Battle Group India split into 2 parts and attacked the Covenant on both sides of the gas giant. After tricking the Covenant into splitting their own forces, Cole's fleet quickly regrouped. On one side of the gas giant, and opened fire on one group of ships. With 2/3 of the Covenant group dismantled, the alien fleet regrouped and attacked Cole's fleet. As the Covenant moved into attack, an insurrectionist fleet led by the Bellicose suddenly exited slip space and charged the Covenant ships. The insurrectionist fleet blew through the Covenant ships and, as suddenly as they appeared, jumped into slip space. With only a handful of Covenant ships left, Cole's fleet began to flee the battle. However, another Covenant fleet, numbering in over 200 ships, exited slip space to reinforce their other fleet. Cole ordered the remnants of Battle Group India to fall back from the gas giant, leaving Cole's command ship, the UNSC Everest, to face the enemy alone. The Everest sped towards the gas giant, powered down all non-essential systems, but opened all missile silo doors. Cole then beamed an open comms transmission to the Covenant fleet, and with balls of brass so large it must actually be a chore to walk around, Cole proceeded to flex on the Covenant. And there's no way in hell that I'm ever going to do this quote justice, but here we go. Listen to me, Covenant. I am Vice Admiral Preston J. Cole, commanding the human flagship Everest. You claim to be the holy and glorious inheritors of the universe. I spit on your so-called holiness. You dare judge us unfit after I have personally sent more than 300 of your vainglorious ships to hell, after kicking your collective asses off Harvest not once, but twice? From where I sit, we are the worthy inheritors. You think otherwise? You can come try and prove me wrong. Cole's shit-talking is so on point, the Covenant ignore Battle Group India and all move towards Everest. Cole had plunged the Everest into the immense gravitational pull of Vesperde and was unable to back out. The Covenant of course fired at the ship, but the magnetosphere provided enough interference against Covenant plasma weaponry that it prevented a kill. Cole turned to the Covenant one last time and said, "Is that the best you can do? Watch what one unworthy human can do." With that, Cole ordered the Everest to fire all available munitions into the gas giant. The super-pressurized hydrogen inside the gas giant's tightly compressed atmosphere spontaneously underwent nuclear fusion because of the 100 Shiva-class nuclear warheads fired at it, and the gas giant exploded into a brown dwarf. When the micronova ceased, every remaining Covenant ship had been obliterated. The same fate had seemingly befelt the Everest and her commanding officer, or did it? That's right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, Spartans of all ages, this is a 2-for-1 flex. So, before the Battle of Serpetis, Cole did two things. The first was to order a massive personnel transfer to his flagship. The second was to commandeer a crippled UNSC cruiser, the IO. For you see, prior to Cole's last stand at the Battle of Serpetis, during the Battle of 18 Scorpii, when all seemed lost, an unknown friendly fleet of reinforcements jumped into the system and destroyed the Covenant ships, saving the UNSC forces. The lead ship of this random friendly group of reinforcements profile matched a 30-year-old frigate, the UNSC Bellicose. For those of you keeping track, the UNSC Bellicose was the flagship of Lorena, the insurrectionist leader Cole had fallen in love with way back on Roost. The same Lorena and Bellicose that Oni interrogators told Cole had been destroyed. The theory is that Cole, after decades of combat and seeing more death and destruction than anyone should ever be forced to, and given the revelation that his lover and wife was still alive, he was just done. He transferred people to his ship that would be sympathetic with his cause or outright loyal to him, and used the IO as a decoy for the Everest. In fact, on December 2552, Oni operative codenamed Surgeon stated that AI's Phoenix and Lackluster had analyzed the footage from the Battle of Serpetis and had calculated that there was an 89.7% chance that Cole survived and escaped in an emergency slip-space jump. So one last flex on the UNSC that lied to him about the death of his wife and used and abused him when they saw it fit, casting him out of grace when it was politically expedient and raising him up like a fallen hero when they actually needed somebody who was competent and could get shit done. So, not only do you get the massive flex of Cole destroying 500 Covenant ships in one go, which I believe that and Cole's career gives him the highest Covenant kill count of all time, sorry Master Chief, but then Cole says fuck you to the UNSC, fakes his death, and goes off to live happily ever after with the woman of his dreams. And doesn't that just make it the single greatest flex in all of Halo? If it doesn't, I don't know what does, but hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you like this video, remember to leave a like. If this video gets 3,000 likes within the next week, then I will talk about my favorite flex in all of Halo. Remember to subscribe for that video and more Halo content. Hit that bell notification because apparently subscribing means nothing to the tubes of the U. You can donate to my Patreon if you are feeling generous, but above all else, stay frosty.